Okay, good morning, everyone. My monks brothers here in the Monks Life Project in Papay meditation, the international meditation retreat in Thailand. And good morning, all the Dhamma students who joined this Zoom meeting. Again, welcome everyone to the Sutta study. Today is Friday, 29th of October, 2021. And today we are going to talked about one of the most important sutra in the Buddhist text as well. Is the episode 8. We will be discussing about the Anattalakkhana Sutta. But before we start, let's pay homage to the triple gem together. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagavan Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivantemi สวากขาตัวภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนะมามิอันตมะยังพุทธัสสะภะคะวะโตอุปภาคณมการังกะโรมะเสนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ You can sit comfortably. Okay, again, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. Welcome everyone to the 8th episode of the Sutta study. And today we are going to discuss on one of the most important sutra from the Buddhist text. It's actually the second sutra, second discourse that the Buddha gave, okay, following from his first teaching, or Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. And this is the second one. There are some significance of the first, the second, and the third sutra. So today we are going to explore the second one, which the name of the sutra is called Anattalakkhana Sutta, this one. As you can see, there is a word anatta here and lakkhana here, okay, and the sutra. Anatta, familiar with the word anatta, right? Anatta come from what? Atta, right? Atta is self. Okay, so anatta mean opposite, which is non-self. Okay, lakkhana mean characteristic. Okay, so basically, Anattalakkhana is the sutra that the Buddha explained in detail what he means by non-self, what he means by what is the characteristic of self and non-self in this particular sutra. This is quite interesting, and the sutra is kept in Sangyutta Nikaya, okay, number 22.95. So you can explore by yourself if you have time. So feel free, okay, to study more. So in this sense, when you hear the word non-self, what's come to your mind? Non-self come with the sense of the, it's like no essence and emptiness. There's nothing in there. Okay? It's useless. It's vain. It's just no essence, and that's the idea of nonsense or non-self. Sometimes you hear the word no self or not self, no self, okay, soul, okay. So whatever word that you may find from different texts that you read, okay, it's point to the same thing, which is there is no essence in that particular object that we are going to talk about in this sutra. There's no essence in there. There's no permanent entity in body and in the mind. Okay, so that's the idea of the word anatta, the word non-self. Well, let's see if we can get through this sutra together in less than 1 hour. Again, the topic today continues from last week. which is we touch on the concept of the 5 aggregate. And we consider this teaching is advanced teaching, the teaching that aim for low kutala, supramundane, attainment, to understand how the 5 aggregate work. And then we understand how dukkha works and how to lessen dukkha in our life. Everything we learn, the teaching of the Buddha, it should help us to lessen our dukkha, our suffering, our conflict in our daily life. And that's the idea. Whatever Dhamma that you learn, whatever topic that you study, it should help you lessen your suffering, help you to develop the right view toward life and how to live life noble, how to live life happy, right? So just to recap from last session, because today the Anattalakkhana Sutta, the Buddha explained more about the 5 aggregate, and he would like those 5 aesthetics to understand that there is no such thing called permanent self or permanent soul in this teaching. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment, but here just to recap from last week. The 5 aggregate of Panchakhan, aggregate mean heap, right? Panchakhan mean 5 of khanda mean aggregate or heaps or collection. And we explore that there are 5 things that make us human being. The first one is form, right? This is body. Okay, and this is the mind in the big picture. But when we zoom into the mind, there are 4 things in the mind that make the mind is the mind. Okay, form is rupa. Form is something that breakable, something the eye can see, something we can touch, and that's called form. And form is breakable. Okay, all of these 5 of these, they are subject to the law of nature, which is the Trilakkana. They fall into the characteristic of anicca, right? Anicca means impermanent. They continuously change. And the second characteristic, they fall into the characteristic of dukkha. Dukkha means oppressed. They cannot sustain their status forever. And the last one, they also subject to the third characteristic, which is non-self. We have no control, no autonomy over our body and over our mind. And that's the idea. As you can see here, form is the body, okay? And feeling or vedana, perception is your memory, your recognition, and mental formation, your thinking or thoughts. And consciousness is your ability to know. Okay, we have eye consciousness. When the eye see things, the eye know, oh, this is the tree, this is the man, this is the dog. This is eye consciousness. And ear consciousness, when you hear the sound, oh, this sound is my mom's, this sound is the bird, this sound is the cat. So that's called ear consciousness, right? Same thing with tongue consciousness, body consciousness. So there is something called consciousness. Okay, so we can perceive, we can memorize, and we can think with consciousness. And this makes us the mind, body and the mind, this become human being. And the body, okay, is like a man, this man, a blind man with good legs. He can walk, but he cannot see. The mind on the other side is like this boy. He can see, but he don't have legs. So they have to go together to achieve wherever they want to achieve. So the blind man with good leg can walk, okay? And the man with good eye but have no leg cannot walk. So body and mind need to go together. So when the body break, okay, they separate. The mind need to find another form to carry on in this samsara. So that's how the body and mind kind of related together in each lifetime that we born. So this is the idea of the 5 aggregate. Because today we're gonna look at the 5 aggregate in a deeper dimension through this sutra, Anattalakkhana Sutra. And hopefully at the end, the word not self, no self should make more sense to you, especially when you are ordained as a Buddhist monk. You learn something deeper than the lay people. And this first 3 sutra is considered the deep sutra, the sutra that the Buddha gave the whole idea of his discovery, of his enlightenment to the first group of students. Okay, and here is the reference in case you want to go back and study by yourself. Anattalakkhana Sutra is kept in Samyutta Nikaya, okay, 22nd.95. You can find it from PTS, the Pali Text Society, or any books, or you can just type Anattalakkhana Sutta. There are many versions, okay, that you can have the free access download from the internet. Sometimes they call Panchavakkhya Sutra. Panchavakkhya mean what? Pancha mean 5, right? Panchavakkhya mean the 5 aesthetic. Because this sutta talk about the enlightenment of these 5 aesthetic in particular. And another sutra is Asajji Sutra. Okay. So 2 of these, they are pretty much identical. Okay. So in the same collection, which is Samyutta Nikaya. Okay, I give you some background before we go into the sutra itself. If you remember the first teaching the Buddha gave, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, right? So the Buddha enlightenment, he reflect on his discovery and he locate who should be the first, group of students that he should share his discovery or his wisdom. Okay, and finally, okay, he think of these 5 aesthetic. He locate them. He finally found them, and he give them the first teaching in that Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. And that day, okay, one of the aesthetic, okay, Kontanya, there are 5 of them, Kontanya, Vappa, Pattiya, Mahanama, and Asajji. At the end of the first teaching, Kontanya have realized the first level of enlightenment we call Sodapatthana, okay, or stream winner or stream enterer. He get into the stream of Nibbana. This is irreversible, and the text says, this stream enterer will be reborn maximum 7 lifetime, and then he will achieve enlightenment, become Arahant, and finish this birth cycle. The Sodapatthana or stream winner have achieved by Kontanya at the first teaching of the Buddha, right then. But the rest, okay, 4 of them, they still an ordinary monk. They have achieved nothing. But in that, from the first teaching to the second teaching, it's about 5-day period. In that 4 day, after Dhammacakka, the Buddha gave more explanation to each monk, okay, teach them about the 4 noble truths in different dimensions. So they reflect upon the same body of knowledge, which is the 4 noble truths, but in a deeper dimension. So in that 4 day, so each one of them have achieved the same level, which is stream winner or stream enterer, okay, on the success, we call successive day. Okay, maybe one day Vappa, and the second day Pattiya, and the third day Mahanama, and the 4th day Asajji. So at the end, okay, in that 4 day, all of them achieve, they become Sodapatthana person who have removed, okay, at least 3 fetters or 3 major defilements from their own mind. And it happened, okay, on the 5th day after the Buddha gave the first teaching. And the Buddha talked about the 5 aggregates. And at the end of this teaching, the second teaching, 5 of them have achieved arahantship, become awakened bhikkhu on Asalaha Puja day, on the full moon day, the first day before they enter the rain retreat for the first time. And it makes 6 arahant happen in the world, 5 plus the Buddha. And that's why this sutra is quite important. Sometimes you will hear the word the 3-5. The sutra called the 3-5. What are the 3-5? The first 5 is, it happened 5 days after the Buddha gave the first teaching, and the teaching gave to the 5 monks and talking about the 5 aggregates. And at the end of that teaching, 5 of them achieve arahantship. Okay, sometimes the sutra called the 3-5. Okay, that's the background. And here is the significance of the sutra. The first one, Dhammacakka, right? What is Dhammacakka? The Buddha talk about dukkha. Okay, and how to end dukkha. That's the essence of Dhammacakka. And he also talk about the middle way, not overindulge in sense pleasure. That's not the way to liberation. And self-mortification also not the way that lead to the full liberation. You need to practice something called the middle way, Majjhima Patipatha. That's the key idea in the Dhammacakka. After listening to that idea, one person, Anya Kontanya, understood, and he asked to become a monk. Then he become a monk and achieve Sodapatthana, right? And in that 4 days, the Buddha continued teaching the rest, okay, 4 monks to achieve the same level. So he explained them more and more and more. And he get to the point where he teach the second sutra, and all of them realize arahantship. Their mind fully liberated, free from defilement. In this sutra called Anattalakkhana Sutra. So it's talk about the 5 aggregate. Okay, the concept of not self here on the second sutra. And later on, okay, the third one. So 3 of these, they go together, okay, in coherent sequence, and they are closely related. The third one, Athitta Pariyaya Sutra, or the fire sermon. This one, the Buddha talk about the 6th sense and the defilement. Okay, so all of these, they are related, and then they go in the sequence. Okay, and it support each other in terms of developing something called panya. And back then, in the time of the Buddha, even before he achieved enlightenment, people understand about precept. People understand about samadhi. There are many people practice precept in order to purify their body and verbal. And there are many people also practice samadhi or concentration in order to purify their mind and hope to achieve liberation. But they do it either, positive or negative. Negative means self-mortification. Positive means like too much over-indulge in sense pleasure. Apply both of it, either sila or either samadhi. There's nothing teaching about something in between, the middle way. No one introduced the concept of the middle way in that spiritual market in Indian time, in the time of the Buddha. And people believe in self, in permanent self, permanent soul. According to the Brahmanism, right? That's what people practiced back then before the Buddha enlightenment. People believe in the permanent self, permanent soul, the same soul, the same self that have been created by the Creator God, and this soul will travel to the samsara for a countless lifetime to purify itself and hope that one day this little soul will go back to the main soul, go back to the Supreme Being one day. So they practice on that. They purify themselves, they torture themselves, they stop eating, they do whatever it takes to purify that soul, but in the concept of it is permanent. It is permanent. But the Buddha give rise of the new concept in that spiritual market. He said, there is no such thing called permanent self or permanent soul. If you guys practice, okay, he knows that Panchavakkhi, they are great students. They know about precept, they know about meditation. But one thing missing from their practice is the right view. The right view or right wisdom. They don't have that. They believe in permanent soul. They believe in permanent self. That's why they cannot be fully liberated. So the first teaching and the second teaching is about help them to develop the right view of their spiritual practice. And once Kontanya, the first ascetic, understand that the concept of the middle way, he achieved Sodapatthana right then. Let go the wrong view. And later on, those 5, the rest, okay, 4 ascetic also come to the same understanding. So they might also liberated with the right view, that the Buddha helped them to educate them, to cultivate them, the right view. And this is the significant. So if you can hear one teaching, and that teaching, lead you to fully liberated from defilement in your mind. Okay, the first 3 teaching, it is very important to give us that foundation to understand the nature of life and to help us, go to the right path of, liberation. Because in Dhammachakka, the Buddha talked about the concept of dukkha, right, and how to end dukkha. And he come up with one simple sentence at the end of the first noble truth, that clinging on the 5 aggregate is the cause of suffering. Our job is to decode that sentence. What does he mean by clinging on the 5 aggregate cause us suffering? And this is the second sutra that go deeper to explain that particular statement. Okay? And this is the ordinary man view to the world, all of us, including myself. Every single, people on the planet, probably. Okay, an ordinary man, an ignoble man, this is how we see the world. Okay, this is what our view look like. Form possess self, self as form. Form itself, self as form. That's why this is me, this is mine. My form is myself. This is me, this is my computer, my car, my house, because form possesses the self. And the second group of view is form in self and self in form. This is I am. I am angry. I don't like that. I don't like this. I want to eat that. I want to eat this. I am and mine. Okay. Me, mine. This is our view toward the world. There are always the word I. I refer to what? I is self. We think we exist. We think we own something. We think we feel something. We think we become something. And that's how we think of who we are. The question is, who are we really? Who we are really? Okay. Same thing with feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Is applied to this will. I feel that, I feel this. I remember that, I remember this. I think that, I think this. Okay. And I know that, and I know this. This is ordinary man view of the world. Again, this week teaching is an advanced, okay, Dhamma. So we have to kind of slowly digest information. I'm going to take you to the text and take a look what the Buddha explained, okay, the concept of non-self together in a moment, and try to understand what he means. Okay, our job is to help each other to decode, okay, his teaching based on our best ability. Okay, here we go. The sutra starts like this. Thus have I heard. That means someone heard something, right? And who is that person and heard from the Buddha? It's always, most of the sutta start from this sentence. That have I heard. That means Venerable Ananda, which is the personal attendant of the Buddha, heard the teaching of the Buddha. Okay. And then he said, at one time, the blessed one is the Buddha, or the Tathagata, or the noble, or the awakened person, was staying in the deer park, Isipatana, near the Benares, okay, the place, the forest called the Benares. There indeed, the best one addressed the group of 5 monks. The Buddha gave the first teaching at this place, and the second teaching also the same place. Okay, that place is called the deer park of Isipatana, near Benares. And he said, Bhikkhu, form is not self. If form were self, then form would not lead to illness or affliction. And it would be possible to tell the form that may my form be thus, may my form not be thus. And indeed, monks or bhikkhu, since form is not self, therefore form leads to affliction. And it is not possible to say that form, may my form be thus, may my form not be thus. Simple, but deep. Remember this teaching the Buddha gave to the smart student. These 5 students, they are advanced meditators. The Buddha don't give much explanation. They understand what the Buddha means because they are smart group of students. Form is not self. What we learn from here, the Buddha gives us the characteristic of something called self and something called not self already. Okay. Why? Here. If something is self, that thing will not subject to illness or affliction. And if something is self, the second thing that comes with it, it comes with autonomy. It's under your control. And that's called self. And the reason it's called non-self because it's subject to change, it's subject to illness, affliction, it breaks. It's breakable, it decays. Plus, it is not under our control. There's no autonomy in body and mind. And that is why this is very important characteristic of the word non-self that gave in this particular statement from the Buddha. If its form it will not lead to illness. Illness is not just the physical sickness. Illness is come with the sense of being oppressed, affliction, worry, concern, insecure. This is illness. This is illness of the form. So if the form is not self, okay, it would not lead to illness and affliction. It would be possible to tell the form that, you know what, be that and be this. Now myself, I'm having a bad time with allergy. I have running nose, headaches, body pain. This is my form. This is very obvious. I cannot tell my body to stop running nose, stop headache, stop now, don't headache. Body pain, please go away. If I can do that, that is mean I have full autonomy with my own body. I have full control, but I don't. I may be able to create the condition of living good health. I try to eat vegetable. I try to have enough rest. I try to do some exercise, even though I still subject to illness, aging, and eventually my body will break. This is the essence of the word, not self. I don't own it. I don't own even my body. I have no authority, even my body. Okay. So the rest feeling is the same. The sutra are repeated. Okay, just change the word. Okay, these 5 words: feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So form we understand. Okay, we may be able to prolong or delay the aging process, but we cannot stop the aging process. Eventually, all of us die. We leave this world, go somewhere. And this is called dukkha. This is called illness. This is called affliction. This is called oppress. What about feeling? How come feeling is considered illness and affliction? Do you have full control of your feeling? Can feeling not lead to dukkha, illness, worry, oppress? Can you tell yourself to feel good all day? Can you control that feeling? Hey, you know what? If I can control my feeling, I would love to have a good feeling every single day that I wake up. Can we do that? We cannot, right? We may be able to, think of good things someday. This is together. Feeling and perception. Perception means recognition, your memory, right? Can you have good memory all day long? Can you recall of all the good thing in your life and feel good about it all day long, all month long, all year long? No. All of us, we have done good thing, we have done bad thing. And that bad thing still kept somewhere in our mind, and it's so difficult to remove. You meditate, you feel good. All of a sudden, the wrongdoing that you did in the past just show up in your meditation, and it destroys the whole session. If you have self-autonomy, you would say, go away. Don't show up in my meditation. That bad thinking, I don't like you. Please go away. If you can, that means you have self. You can order, you can direct your perception and your feeling to however you want. And because we cannot do that, that's why perception and feeling give us illness, give us affliction, give us oppression, worry, concern. And we don't have autonomy on our own feeling and perception. Okay? And what about mental formation, thought? Do we have control over our thinking? You may say, yes, Dong Pi, right? I can think good. I can think bad. In a way, yes. But the ultimate way, can you actually force yourself to think of good thing only, wholesome thing only for the rest of your life? If it's self, if it fall into this characteristic, then you can, right? If you can, that means you have self. If you cannot, who would you order to? Who is the person you direct your thought to? You think good only. You don't think bad. Who is that you? Who is it that you refer to? Please stop thinking bad. Please think only good thing. If you can find that entity and it's permanent, and that is called self, and we cannot find it. That's why the Buddha give the teaching that there is no such thing called permanent self. What about consciousness? Consciousness is what? Let's give some definition here. We learned the 5 aggregate already, right? Consciousness is knowing, right? Eye consciousness. When you see the monk, oh, you know this is the monk. Your perception come back. Your feeling come back. Oh, I remember the man with orange saffron robe, this outfit, no hair. He is called a Buddhist monk. Perception, feeling. And when you see Buddhist monk, you feel peace, you feel safe. So feeling, perception come automatically once your consciousness exists. But if there's no consciousness exists, you wouldn't know. Even though you see the monk walk by, you may not notice what is that thing in the orange outfit, because your consciousness is not there. So everything has to come with consciousness first. And then ear consciousness, you hear the sound, you know, oh, this is sound of the bird. This is sound of that particular singer. This is pop music. This is rock music. You remember that sound through your ear consciousness. When you taste the food, okay, your tongue consciousness let you know that this is sweet, this is spicy, this is sour, this is salty, because you have consciousness at the tongue level. When you touch something, okay, the body consciousness arises. Oh, this is tough, this is soft, this is good, I like it. Because consciousness at the body level exists. Okay, so that's consciousness. So why consciousness is considered illness and affliction? When the eye sees something, you cannot tell the eye not to see. The perception everything you see is come through the eye, and consciousness arrive and take that information to the mind. You cannot just, oh, I don't want to see that person because I don't like him. When you see, you see. When you hear the sound just the sound come to your ear, whether you like that music or not. And that is why we have no control of what we hear or what we see in this sense. Now we hear the sound of the motorcycle. We cannot tell the ear, don't listen to that sound, don't hear it. Can you tell your consciousness, your ear consciousness, that please don't hear that? We hear it anyway. And that's the sound coming through that from motorcycle, come to the air and get to the ear, and then the ear consciousness telling you that that is the sound of motorcycle. And there is something you can do about it. Whether you get mad, whether you okay, whether you forget about it. There's something you can do in the mental formation level. A little bit, okay? But you cannot force yourself to, you know what, I just want to hear the good thing. I don't want to hear the bad thing. I just want to see beautiful thing. I don't want to see ugly thing. We cannot do that. We don't have autonomy on that. And we, everything here, body, feeling, mind, okay, mental formation, consciousness, they are subject to illness and affliction. This is the definition of the characteristic of non-self according to this particular statement of the Buddha. Okay, and let's take a look at the characteristic of the aggregate itself. This is very important. The Buddha continued explain that, what do you think, Bhikkhu? Now he asked the question, do you see what I just explained? Form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. The one that I just teach you, do you see, monk? Do you think that is form permanent or impermanent? And the monk said, impermanent Bhante, impermanent Buddha. Now, that which is permanent, is it unsatisfactory or satisfactory? And the monk answered, unsatisfactory Bhante, unsatisfactory Buddha. And now, that is which impermanent, unsatisfactory, subject to change, is it proper to regard that? Is it proper to regard that? This is my, this is I am, and this is myself. And the Panchavakkhya, those 5 aesthetics, answer, no, Buddha, no, Bhante. Simple conversation, super simple and super deep. These 5 aesthetics, they fully understood. The Buddha give them some thought, food for thought, and then the Buddha reconfirm by asking them the question to check whether they fully understand. Okay, Do you see now form is impermanent or permanent? Just reflect back to this particular statement, right? Because form is non-self. Why is not self? Because you have, it's a subject to illness and it cannot under your control. Okay, Panchavakkhiya understand that. And now he asks, is form permanent or impermanent? Just to recheck. Oh, it is impermanent. Impermanent, sir. It changed. You think of the wind, the air. It's impermanent. It changed. You cannot grasp on it. And now, if it's impermanent, is it unsatisfactory or unsatisfactory? The Pali used the word dukkha. See, I have no control over my body. Please stop coughing, or have a good voice. Don't have body pain. I don't have that ability to control my body. So now, which is impermanent? Is it dukkha, suffering or suffering or happiness, or unsatisfactory or satisfactory? Anything that's subject to impermanent is come with unsatisfactoriness because it's continue to change. And if you cling on something that continue to change with the wrong view of clinging, you will be suffering. You will be suffering for sure. And which is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and subject to change? Is this characteristic good or valid to consider that it's self, that is yours, that is me, that is mine? And the monk said, no. If my body will continue to change, can I still reclaim that this is myself? Don't change, don't get old, don't get ill, and don't die. If I can do that, then I can call this is self. But because I cannot, that is why we cannot consider this is the true self. Okay, so this truth, we may be able to understand it intellectually. Now you come to this far of the Dhamma learning. Okay, 5 aggregate, form, body, and mind. Okay, anicca, dukkha, anatta, everything continue to change. Everything is compound. Okay, understand that. The question is, something that you understand at this moment, are those things help you to change the way you see the world, the way you see yourself? Has anything changed at all by having known this fact or this truth? For them, these 5 aesthetics understand this truth, their view of the world change completely, fully liberated. Oh, you know what? I have been wrong clinging or attached on my physical, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness for a very long time because I believe in the permanent self. And now the Buddha gave me a new knowledge, new wisdom that there is no such thing called permanent self. So my mind is liberated. Something had changed with the input of that information, new information into my life. What have you changed? Now you hear the word aggregate, you hear the word non-self. The reason nothing changed in us because we don't fully understood. We don't actually spend time, reflect on it, internalize on it, of this truth. Buddhism is about knowing and changing, about liberation. Everything we learn, it needs to help us change of something in a better way, in a wholesome way, not stay in the same place, same level. Okay? All right, so here is same thing with form, right? Form is impermanent, form is dukkha, okay? And we cannot consider form, this is myself, I am, okay? Same thing with feeling. Feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness. Feeling also impermanent, okay? The body changes, the mind changes. Okay, if these 5 aggregates may be too many domains for you to remember and it's confused, we can shrink it down to 2 things, body and mind. Now we're talking about nama, name and form. Name and form, nama and rupa, name and form. And we divide it into 5 categories: body, which is form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. But if we keep it simple, we can shrink it back to 2 items, two domains, which is body and mind. There is no permanent entity of body and mind of human being. The body change. We know that every 1 minute, 300 million cells of the body die, and the new one replace it. Every single minute. Think of yourself when you were young, and now you become teenager. Now you become adult. You're 20 years old. You're 40 years old. You're 60 years old. 70 years old. When you look back, you know that your body changed, but it doesn't change overnight. But it continues to change for sure the day you're born, because it comes with what? It's a compound. It's a compound element. Earth, water, wind, fire, plus air or space in the body. This is form. It's compound. It's breakable. That's why it's called form. We cannot tell the body to stop aging. Don't break it. We just cannot do that. So the body continues to change. The mind also changes a lot faster than the body. Your thinking, your perception, your mental formation, your consciousness, it changes a lot faster than the body. The body, we need to wait 5 years, 10 years to see, oh, you have gray hair or you have wrinkle, more wrinkle. You have to wait to see that happen. But the mind changes super fast. How many things that you think in the last 5 minutes? You cannot count. When you meditate 1 hour, how many thoughts come to your mind? Feeling, okay, thinking, perception, consciousness change rapidly, moment to moment. Moment to moment. You sit, meditate. Can you direct your mind? You know what? Don't think. Stay here 30 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Stop moving. Can you do that? No, right? We cannot force the mind to stop feeling, stop thinking, stop bring back the bad memory to me. I just want to meditate. Stop bothering me. I just want to finish my work. Go away. We cannot do that. This is the idea of sense of the idea of non-self. Okay, so there is no permanent entity. The body changes, the mind changes. They change moment to moment until when? Until all of them have come to the final destination, and then they break. Body and mind separate, go back to the nature. These 5 aggregates go back to the nature. Finish. Okay, so here is the second part. Sorry, here's the third part that the Buddha explained to these 5 aesthetics. To me, this is amazing. Therefore, bhikkhu, surely whatever form in the past, in the future, in the present moment, internal, external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, whatever form it is, in the past, in the present, in the future, okay, all that form must be regarded with proper wisdom. This is called right view. Right view is about wisdom. According to reality, this is the ultimate truth. Reality means ultimate truth, unchangeable truth. It's true in the past, it's true now, it will be true in the future. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Is so absolute. Okay, totality. It never changes. It's timeless. It's ultimate truth. Thus, this is not mine. This is I am not, and this is not myself. This is not myself. And all of this apply to the rest, okay? Feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Or to all of these 5 domains. It's, if you see this as it is, as the reality of this nature of life with the proper wisdom, you will have no clinging on your body and on your mind. There is no such thing called mind. There is no such thing called me, called myself. Okay, what is past? Past, future, and present. Okay, we understand, right? You yourself last week and today, and you yourself 10 years from now. Okay, that's called form. It doesn't matter when. It will subject to change. Internal, what is internal and external? Internal mean what? Internal mean this physical sense organ, your eye, your ear, your nose, your tongue, right? External is the object, okay? Object, the sound, the man, woman, okay? The taste. This is the external sense, physical sense object, okay? Gross and subtle, right? Gross and subtle means something, something you can touch and you cannot touch. And inferior, feeling good, superior, feeling good, inferior, feeling bad, about form, about feeling, about perception, about consciousness, mental formation, far and near, right? Here, I can see you, you can see me, okay? But form over there in America, in Australia, I cannot see, but I know wherever form exists, it's subject to change. It falls into the same characteristic. And this is ultimate truth. By understanding this truth, it helps us to understand that there's nothing that's worth clinging on at all. And then there's no such thing called me, no such thing called mine. According to this, concept of not self that the Buddha explained. Okay, so you can think of the word pig. Pig is the pig, right? What the pig usually do is the pig eat and the pig sleep. That's all they do. And then they enjoy eating and sleeping. And one sutra, the Buddha talked about the story of the pig to the monk who just eat and sleep and enjoy being born and reborn in the samsara. He don't have ability to access to the higher wisdom about the concept of, five aggregate. So past, present, okay, future, okay, inferior, superior, internal, external, okay, gross, subtle, and superior or inferior. Okay. Form, feeling, perception, mental formation, okay, they are falling into the same category. Whatever form, whatever feeling in the past, whatever consciousness in the past, whatever perception in the past, nothing is worth clinging on. It's subject to change. It's subject to this. If you see this, okay, according to the reality, to the way they really are, then you will not cling on this body and mind because it's not yours. Okay, we almost done. And here the Buddha get to the next level to help them more understand about this, concept of self. Monks or bhikkhu, well-trained noble disciple. That means a monk already achieved arahantship, and now he look back and reflect of what he just attained. Okay, seeing that's what? Seeing that means seeing this, seeing form, feeling, perception, past, present, future, inferior, superior. Okay, whatever it is, they are subject to change. Once the monk seeing this, he is revolved with form, revolved with feeling, revolved with perception, revolved with mental formation, and he is revolved with consciousness. He is strongly, very or dislike this five again. He fully understand. Being revolved, he becomes dispassionate. Dispassionate of what? Dispassionate of this body and mind. It's just the condition. It's just the condition. Because A exists, then B exists. And the reason we exist, there must be a cause of us being exist. Okay. So the monk, dispassionate, okay, in his freedom from passion, he is emancipated. He will not cling on self. Being emancipated, there is the knowledge that he is emancipated. He understands that birth, okay, is done, finished. The holy life has been lived, and what needs to be done has been done completely. There is nothing more for me in this life. My job is done. He fully understands the nature of himself. There's no self. There's no permanent self. If there's nothing permanent, there's nothing is worth clinging on. And why should I cling on this? Cling on myself, cling on my possession, cling on everything I have. So he is liberated. Okay. And the Buddha said at the last paragraph, he said, the best one said, satisfied, good. The group of 5 monks were delighted with this discourse of the Buddha. And then, this teaching was being spoken. The mind of the group of 5 monks were free from defilement and without attachment. So no clinging, no more wrong clinging. And at that time, there were 6 Arahants in this world. So 1 Buddha and 5 ascetics, 6 of them become the first group of Arahants in this world 2,500 years ago. Okay, so in conclusion, okay, I found this another sutra that I think is very useful, help us to understand what the Buddha is trying to teach these 5 ascetics. Bhikkhu, this body is not yours, nor it belongs to others. It is the old karma. The word karma exists here, to be seen as generated, fashioned by volition, as something to be felt. So this body is not yours, nor someone else. It happened because of the old karma. Okay, because of A exists and then B exists. If we want A not to be exist, then we need to remove B. Then A cannot exist. Okay, that's a simple formula. But how to do that? Okay, that's another story. So this Anattalakkhana Sutta, the Buddha go in detail to explain the 5 aggregates. There's no essence in the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates, body and mind, is an empty entity, empty domain. Okay, so what do we learn from this? What benefit of us? How can we use this knowledge in the daily life? So let's reflect on this before we finish. So if you think of the ripple, you sit by the river or the lake, and all of a sudden you throw the stone into the lake. What you get is the ripple, right? The ripple keep on coming, expanding, never ended. It will be ended when the energy of the stone that touch the water disappear or deplete, and then the ripple is gone. So as you're sitting there and observe the ripple, it's keep coming toward you, okay, non-stop. The question is, does the ripple really exist? Or it is what? What is that make the water move one step at a time, coming closer and closer to you and disappear? And the new one come and disappear. The third one come and disappear. What is that thing? We just give it a name called ripple. But what exactly it is? Can we grasp on it? Does the ripple exist? Or it's just the phenomenon of the energy of something that drop into the water, that stone, and that stone create the energy on the surface of the water. And that's energy, keep moving the water, come to you, okay? One circle at a time, second circle, third circle, and all of them disappear. This is similar to the concept of self. This form exists and we call it form. We call it Long Pi Na Long Chai. We call it Mr. A, Mr. B. But is that really form? Is that really me? I exist because of the energy of my karma that brought me here, right? And when the energy of my karma deplete or gone, so this form will not exist. It goes somewhere. This is the condition, phenomena. We just have to be able to explain that. So what do we learn from this? Benefit of this? Okay. The first noble truth talk about dukkha. And remember, responsibility for us who learn the Four Noble Truths to respond for the first noble truth. This is dukkha. Our job is to understand dukkha exists, not to be. So don't own the pain Don't own suffering. When suffering happens, when conflict happens, don't own it. Don't look at problem subjectively. You must look at them objectively. When you get mad, okay, anger, not I am angry. When you put the word I, that means you are angry. But if you look anger at, subjectively, oh, anger is there, myself is here. My anger is just a feeling. So if you repeatedly say or acknowledge that anger, and then you understand that, oh, it's not you who get angry. It's just a feeling that come and go. It's impermanent. It's rise and fall. It's come and go. Anger. But all of a sudden you become angry because you put yourself into that feeling. This is the view that most of us ordinary people have toward our own life and the thing we see in the world. We become an angry person instead of be looking angry as an anger itself, subjectively. Okay, this is one benefit we can look at. Okay, and just again, don't own the pain, don't own the suffering. Suffering is for understanding. There's nothing in this world that's worth clinging on because everything's subject to change. It's impermanent, it's oppressed, and we have no control over all of it. We have no control. Okay, in the ultimate idea, we have no control, and that's the story of the second sutra, which is the Anattalakkhana Sutta. So please go back and digest this information. Okay, reflect on this and learn something from it. Okay, just perfect timing. It's 10 o'clock. It's about 1 hour. Again, today is a deep topic. Okay, deep Dhamma. Following by last session, we learn about the Four Noble Truths, and in order to understand the Four Noble Truths, we need to understand the 5 aggregates. So the Buddha gave the second teaching, which is the Anattalakkhana Sutta, to help develop wisdom through these 5 aesthetics, to know that there is something called the middle way, and there is something called no self. Don't cling on self. There is no such thing called permanent self. And once he get to this level of understanding the true or the true reality of the nature of things, their mind are fully liberated. They achieve Arahant at the end of this teaching, 5 of them. So this teaching is amazing. Okay, again, and it's considered an advanced teaching. So go back and digest and relearn by yourself. Hopefully you can reflect on something that benefit you on your own Dhamma practice, especially if you are a monk. Okay, the longer you become a monk, or the longer you become a student, a Dhamma student, you should have less and less dukkha in your life. You should have more and more right view and right understanding when things go wrong. And that's the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha, that help us to live good life in this very moment. Forget about Nibbana. We don't know when we can realize it. But today, is there anything bothering you? Can you learn how to forgive, forget, and let go? Step back, look at problem, subjectively. Look at people, look at things that worry you subjectively. Not you become that problem, not you become that issue, conflict, or suffering. You is, you, me, we don't exist according to this teaching. Okay, so kind of, intellectually go back and try to understand it. Okay, we may not be able to have that ultimate wisdom to fully see how the 5 aggregates work. And this is called, in Vipassana level, is advanced. It needs to be seen, okay, through the inner eye. Okay, this wisdom is higher wisdom. It's come from Vipassana level, where we understand and then we meditate. And when the mind is fully still and clear, we start seeing the nature of our own self through our meditation practice. Okay, but for now, today we learned the theory. Now it's time for us to put into practice. Okay, whoever you are, a Buddhist monk or the lay people, business people, just get some benefit out of learning sutta study from each other. Okay, so with that, we finished for today. Again, this is my last teaching for this year. There will be no class next week. Okay, we will go for a long retreat for 3 months. So November, December, and January. So hopefully, if we come back in February, if I cannot promise anything at this moment, but if I can, okay, I may come back, to start teaching next year after February, the sutta study or the monk's life story. So we'll see. Okay, I will keep you guys announcement and keep you guys post after this 3 months retreat is over. For now, just give us a chance to go back to do our real duty of being a monk. Just go back to meditate, to develop our mind, to quiet the mind, and hopefully, we can find the true inner peace inside ourselves. And then with the mind fully charged, we can come back to the world and share the happiness through the whole world. Okay, so with that, thank you everyone for joining this Zoom meeting, and hope everyone learned something and benefit something from this lecture. So we will pay homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, and then we will take a break. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivantemi Savankanto Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Saṅghang Namami. Okay. So until we meet again, wish everyone stay safe, stay happy, and success in your life. And whatever happened in your life, please don't stop meditation. Okay, continue practice meditation, and that's the only way that can help you to find the inner peace inside your own self. So if your mind is good, the rest of the world will be good. Okay, so rejoice in everyone's merit.